For the 100% cheapest coins on the internet with reliable delivery and quick customer support, check out my sponsor MMOEXP by clicking the link at the top of the description and use code SWIFT at checkout for 5% off. Salsals and family, and today I'm coming back at you guys with another Madden 21 video on the channel, and in today's video we have a new series that I'm planning on starting on the channel called the MUT Weekly Roundup. Now in this series I'm planning to overview and give my opinion on everything that happened in the past week of Madden Ultimate Team news wise. We have 4 topics that I want to go over in the video today. Those are going to be series 4, the new content we got, so campus heroes and NFL playoffs. I also want to go over the current meta which is happening on defense, as well as the addition to 12 AP points on offense and on defense. Ayo, drop a 1 in the comments if your team is still alive. Who dat, baby? Now, the first thing I want to talk about is Series 4, and Series 4 is confirmed to be coming out this Friday, so very soon, and there's a couple of things you guys should be doing before the series comes out, and I kind of just want to talk about my thoughts on the series. Now, personally, I feel like they waited a little bit too long to drop this. Getting up to level 80 and getting a power-up pass, which I believe is only going to give you a 93 overall card, is simply not good enough. There are now 97 overall players in the game, so I feel like leveling up isn't really going to be that crazy good. I'm kind of hoping that in this series they drop like 20 levels. That'd be kind of sick, because I feel like they are kind of behind when it comes to that. Now, I also want to talk about pack odds. Pack odds are going to be increased with the series, and when that happens, prices within the market go down drastically. So if you guys are looking to make upgrades, wait until Friday to purchase your cards. I will most certainly be opening up some packs on Friday when the series does release. Also, make sure you guys have spent all your series trophies. You don't want to have any left over, and hop into the missions, scroll down to your MUT Master missions, and be sure to knock these out. Now, my kind of thoughts on the series are I'm excited for it to come out. It's kind of been a long time coming, so be sure to do those prep tips before the series does release in a few days. Now, next up, let's talk about the campus hero as well as NFL playoffs cards that did release into MUT. Now, both of these cards are going to be 95 overalls, and we did get a whole ton of new players into the game. There's actually quite a few cards in here that are pretty sick and pretty good to add to your squad. Let's start it off by looking over the campus hero players, because I feel like a lot of these campus heroes are actually really underrated cards. Now, I know a lot of you guys might not have 200k to spend on a player, but a lot of the cards in here are really good, especially the offensive line position. I feel like both of the tackles, as well as basically everywhere along the offensive line, did get some really nice upgrades. There was a few solid players on defense. What I'd recommend you do is hop onto the site called Mudhead and take a look at the stats on these cards, because there's actually a couple of really underrated players in here. They're not crazy expensive. At a price of around 200k, these cards aren't insane, so I would honestly be sure to take a look at these if you're looking for some upgrades, because these cards were honestly super underrated. Again, I was a really big fan of the offensive lineman. Just taking a look at the stats on this DeBrickashaw Ferguson, he's giving you 92 strength to go along with 95 pass block. That's insane for a tackle. Obviously, tackles are much more important with their pass blocking stats, so this card is honestly sick, and I would definitely take a look at the other cards that came out in this promo. And now let's talk about the playoffs promo here, guys, and I think in this promo there were also some really good cards. The only issue with this is that these cards are a lot more expensive. The other 95s are going for like 100k less. These cards are selling for like 330 to 350k, but to be honest, a couple of the cards in here are definitely musts. I would say these 2 cards, Denzel Ward and DK Metcalf, are musts for like 90% of teams, especially if you're a higher overall. Be sure to try and get these 2 players because they're awesome cards. Denzel plays like unspeakably good, and DK Metcalf is also insane. There was also a lot of other good cards in here. Like, take a look at the stats on these players, guys. I would be sure to look at these stats. Like, Marcus Williams has 94 speed, 95 excel, 92 zone, a pretty sick card right there. So I would be sure, like, don't miss any of these players. Look at the stats on these cards, especially if you need an upgrade. I'm gonna probably go through my offensive line and pick out some of these cards, campus heroes and playoff cards, to add to my team. Right now they are decently expensive. I'm hoping these come down in price, especially when team of the year does come out. But in terms of rank in the promos, I would say both of them have been a W. I kind of wish we got a little bit more depth in the playoff promo. I feel like it was kind of just a card release rather than a promo, so I'm hoping they add a little bit more to that. Maybe some type of predictor thing would be cool. I don't know, just hoping to add a little bit more depth to the playoff promo, but so far so good. I do like the cards that have come out, most certainly. Now next up, let's talk about the meta and what people have been running on defense recently. I feel like offense right now is actually in a good place in Madden. You can run the ball, you can pass the ball. There's a lot of different schemes when it comes to passing. Gun trips tight end, gun bunch. There's a whole bunch of things you can do on offense, but on defense, I feel like I've been going up against the same 2 things every single time I play, and I don't want to say it's too frustrating, but I feel like EA, it would be kind of nice if they could find a way to tweak these. I actually do abuse one of them right now, but the two things that I'll play against almost every single time I play this game are Mabels or Man. Now, Mabels essentially mean you have a hard flat on both sides of the field and a cloud flat. So the short and the medium to deep on the sidelines are going to be covered, and you just have your user to take away the middle. There's also 3 deep zones, and you only rush 3 or 2 when you're running that scheme. It's honestly super frustrating to play against. I feel like it's not terrible. It's definitely beatable, but it is kind of like a bot style defense. You don't have to be that crazy good to run it. All you need to do is really have a good user. I'm kind of annoyed playing against that. Now, people also run a lot of man coverage, and that's going to kind of tie into the 12 AP, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. But right now, you can actually run with 4 one-step aheads. I currently rock with 3 of them. Now, with that information, I think you guys probably should be trying to run one of those 2 defensive schemes. I would say, personally, you should try the Mabeling one. I feel like the Mabeling one would suit more of my subscribers. I know a lot of you guys probably like to run zone coverage, and if you do run a lot of zone, Mabeling isn't really that challenging. I believe you just need to come out in nickel 3-3-5 wide, so that's the playbook where you've got 3 D linemen in the middle, 2 linebackers on either side, and then a safety or a linebacker who's going to be your user, and essentially you'll put both of your corners into hard flats, and then you can put both of those outside linebackers into curl flats, or vice versa, whatever way you guys want to do it. But I would recommend you guys look into switching your defense into one of those 2 schemes, because to be honest, those are the meta right now, and I don't think they're really terrible. I feel like it would be nice if there was a little bit more variety. I'm happy that the all-out blitz meta isn't a thing. I've been going up against that a fair bit recently, but I feel like I've been able to beat it pretty easily, and I know a lot of people must be able to beat it pretty easily because I'm playing it a lot less right now. But I just kind of wanted to talk about that, where the meta is, and kind of my thoughts on it. Although I do think it's kind of not the best place in terms of defense, I think offense is really good, and I feel like there's not really anything EA could do to switch this. I mean, there's still a lot of ways to score and move the ball. It's not as easy as it was earlier in the year, but I don't think the meta's in a terrible place. I do think you guys gotta try and run one of those 2 meta style offenses though. Now, next up, let's talk about the 12 AP change, and I want to go over some of my favorite abilities on offense. Now, a couple of abilities that I think are an absolute must are Identified for 1 AP is now super good value. I think Route Tech is definitely a must as well. Before the AP cap went up to 12, Route Tech wasn't really a necessity, but now I really think Route Technician is, especially with the fact that people are playing a ton of man coverage. Getting Route Tech on your wide receivers is going to allow you to actually beat man and actually beat one step aheads. I still think Gunslinger is a must. I am rocking with Conductor on my Rich Gannon. I don't know that I love Rich, but I would say you guys really want to be rocking with Gunslinger, Identified, as well as Route Tech. Those are kind of 3 musts on offense. And when it comes to your defense, I would fully invest in whatever scheme you're running. So what I'm thinking of doing is actually starting to run 4 one-steps. I know that is a little bit risky because I'm definitely very susceptible to the run, but you guys got to invest in whatever defense you're going to run. If you want to run a lot of zone coverage, you can put mid-route KO, deep route KO, and short route KO on your guys, depending on what type of scheme you put them in. If, for example, I knew I was putting my corners in those cloud flats or those purple zones, whichever one they were, I could put short or medium route KO on them, acrobat on your players, maybe some stuff for pass rush if you guys are only rushing 3. So be sure you're using your ability points wisely when it comes to how you run your offense and defense. I think that the 12 AP probably was a solid change. I think it wasn't great on defense, but I like how it affected offense, and I think it was kind of a net positive change. Overall, I think it was definitely good for the game. Spice it up a little bit, change the meta a little. The only thing I don't love about it is the fact that it did make man coverage a lot better, because people can rock with a lot of one-steps. But yeah, that's kind of my MUT weekly roundup for what happened in the past week. I hope you guys do enjoy this style video. I might not do it every single week, but when we get a lot of stuff coming into the game and a lot of news, I can kind of just break it down on here. If you guys have any type of critique or suggestions for what else you'd want to see me talk about, or maybe present the information in a different way, leave that in the comment section. But we went over the series changes for coming, some of the new cards, we went over the meta on defense, as well as the changes to the AP cap. I hope I was able to present that news nicely in the video and give some insights into it. And yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and until next time, I'm out. Peace.